passenger chase. On April 7, 2016, Los Angeles witnessed one of the strangest police chases in recent memory when two men led police on a pursuit in a blue Ford Mustang convertible following a burglary in Cerritos. The chase began around 1:24 p.m. when LA County Sheriff's deputies attempted to pull over the Mustang driven by 20-year-old Herschel Reynolds with 19-year-old Isaiah Young as passenger. Both were suspected of residential burglary. Reynolds refused to stop, instead leading police on a slow-speed pursuit through city streets and freeways. What made this chase bizarre was Young's behavior. He stood up in the moving convertible and began dancing and waving at news helicopters hovering overhead. He appeared completely unconcerned about the police pursuit, instead treating it like a party. The chase was broadcast live on local television, with news anchors struggling to describe the surreal scene. The Mustang traveled through downtown and Hollywood, with Young continuing to dance and gesture at pursuing officers. At various points, he appeared to be taking selfies and recording video on his phone. On Hollywood Boulevard in the rain, Reynolds performed multiple donuts and 360-degree spins. Young even threw an object at a TMZ tour bus that briefly blocked their path. Crowds gathered along the route, with some people cheering and recording videos as the convertible passed by. The chase continued for over an hour as Reynolds made loops through Los Angeles. Police followed cautiously, with helicopters tracking from above. Eventually, Reynolds drove to a friend's house on 51st Street and Hoover Street in South Los Angeles and stopped. Both men exited the damaged convertible and began celebrating with friends waiting there, taking selfies and giving high fives. After a minute or two, sheriff's deputies arrived and surrounded the group. Reynolds and Young surrendered without resistance. Reynolds was charged with felony evading and burglary. The chase became an internet sensation, with Young's dancing trending on social media for days. The Boston Manhunt Pursuit. On April 19, 2013, Watertown, Massachusetts became the scene of a dramatic car chase and shootout following the Boston Marathon bombing. Brothers Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev had killed 3 people and injured hundreds with pressure cooker bombs at the marathon finish line on April 15th. After their photos were released on April 18th, the brothers went on the run. Late that evening, they shot and killed MIT police officer Sean Collier on the Cambridge campus, attempting to steal his service weapon. They then carjacked a Mercedes SUV in Cambridge, forcing the driver, Dun Meng, to ride with them at gunpoint. During the approximately 90-minute ordeal, the brothers told Meng they were the Boston bombers. At a gas station in Cambridge, Meng managed to escape when Dzhokhar went inside to pay. He immediately called 911, providing police with a vehicle description and location. Watertown police spotted the stolen Mercedes around 12:30 a.m. and began pursuit. The chase was brief but intense, with the Tsarnaevs driving recklessly through residential streets. When officers cornered them on Laurel Street, the brothers exited the vehicle and opened fire with handguns. A fierce gun battle erupted in the quiet neighborhood. Officers took cover behind vehicles as bullets flew in both directions. The Tsarnaevs also threw improvised explosive devices at police, including pipe bombs and a pressure cooker bomb, with several detonating during the firefight. Transit police officer Richard Donahue was shot by friendly fire and nearly killed during the exchange. The gun battle lasted several minutes. Tamerlan Tsarnaev was shot multiple times by police. As officers moved to arrest him, Dzhokhar drove the stolen Mercedes directly at them and toward his brother. Officers dove out of the way as Dzhokhar ran over Tamerlan before speeding away. Tamerlan died from his injuries. Dzhokhar abandoned the damaged Mercedes and fled on foot, beginning a 19-hour manhunt that locked down Boston. He was eventually found hiding in a boat in a Watertown backyard. He was later convicted and sentenced to death. The San Diego Tank Rampage. On May 17, 1995, Sean Timothy Nelson stole an M60A3 Patton tank from a California Army National Guard armory in San Diego and led police on one of the most bizarre pursuits in American history. Nelson, a 35-year-old unemployed plumber and Gulf War Army veteran, was experiencing severe personal and financial problems. He had recently lost his home and was struggling with drug addiction. That afternoon, Nelson broke into the National Guard Armory on Mesa College Drive in Kearny Mesa. Security at the facility was minimal, with an open gate and no alarm system. The tanks in the vehicle yard were unsecured, requiring only a push-button starter to operate with no keys needed. Nelson tried unsuccessfully to start 2 tanks before the third M60A3 roared to life. A guard spotted him, but had no weapon to stop him. The 57-ton armored vehicle crashed through the armory fence and onto city streets. Police received calls about a tank driving through residential neighborhoods and initially thought it was a prank. When officers arrived, they found Nelson driving the massive tank down residential streets, crushing everything in his path. The tank's traffic lights. Nelson crushed approximately 40 vehicles, including cars and a recreational vehicle. He knocked down power lines, cutting electricity to thousands of homes. He even attempted to knock over a pedestrian bridge on Interstate 805, but failed. Nelson drove the tank onto State Route 163, crushing more cars and forcing traffic to scatter. The tank's weight and steel tracks made it virtually unstoppable, capable of driving over vehicles and through concrete barriers. Police followed at a safe distance, unable to stop the armored vehicle traveling at approximately 30 miles per hour. News helicopters captured live footage as Nelson drove through neighborhoods and over vehicles. The rampage continued for 23 minutes through Claremont and onto Highway 163. Finally, the tank became stuck on a concrete highway median. One of the tracks came off, and the vehicle could no longer move. 4 police officers quickly surrounded and climbed onto the immobilized tank. Officer Paul Paxton cut open the hatch with bolt cutters while his partner Officer Richard Piner looked through the opening. Nelson sat in the driver's seat and refused to surrender, still trying to rock the tank free. Officer Piner fired 1 shot, striking Nelson in the upper body. Nelson was pulled from the tank and transported to Sharp Memorial Hospital, where he died from his injuries. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the